What's up, runners? Alexandra here, and I am officially 1 week away from running my very first marathon. I am so excited, and so today I want to tell you a little bit about why I started running. So in February of 2020, I was a senior in college. I went to school out in Maryland. We had just started the semester, and I had some errands to do. So in between my classes, I had some time. So I went to the store, and as a college student, I didn't have a car. And so I walked everywhere. And on my way back, I was across the street from my college campus. I hit the button, I waited for the little walk guy to show on the sign, and I crossed the street. And I was about a quarter of the way across, and I was hit by a car. This moment was unlike any other I've ever experienced, of course, but I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I turned, made eye contact with the driver, and I thought to myself, this car is going to hit me. And before I could even finish that thought, I had already been hit. I remember closing my eyes, and I remember my first instinct was to protect my head. I have had 3 concussions already in my life, and that was not a road that I was willing to go down again. And so I protected my head, and I felt 3 impacts. I don't know exactly where they were, but I felt 3. So when it was happening, I remember feeling like everything was moving in slow motion, and I remember being able to picture some life events. But I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel any kind of worry. I knew that eventually I would be okay. I didn't feel like I was about to die or anything like that. I felt rather calm, I suppose. So I remember feeling the 3 impacts, looking up, opening my eyes after it was over, opening my eyes, and there was a large distance between me and the car, so I knew I had flown or bounced or whatever rather far into the street than the crosswalk. So the driver immediately got out, people immediately pulled over, were trying to help me, and of course calling 911. And I remember when the ambulance got there, of course they asked me if I was okay and what was hurting, all of those things. And I remember just saying my ankle hurts. Like, that's it, I'm fine, just my ankle hurts. And so once I was in the ambulance, the EMT was kind of saying, oh, did you know you have a bruise on your face? Like, it was kind of like here around my eye a little bit. And like, did you know you have a bruise here and here and here? And there were bruises everywhere. They were big and just everywhere. I was like, no, I don't feel any of that. I just feel that my ankle hurts. And so there was clearly tons of shock, tons of adrenaline going, and they took me to the hospital, did some x-rays. All I wanted was to get out of there. I just wanted to go back to my dorm room, back home, to the school. And so I went back, and I remember struggling to walk, feeling really sluggish, out of it, like really, really tired. And I ultimately just went to bed thinking my ankle hurt and I had all these bruises, and that was it. So the next day was extremely painful. I woke up with excruciating pain in my left knee. My ankle was still hurting, and I felt all of the bruises. There was no way for me in that moment to relieve any kind of pain. Sitting, laying down, standing up, it all hurt. And because I was at school, everything was difficult. Walking to the bathroom, going to the dining hall, going to class, it was all extremely difficult for me. And so all of a sudden, I was stuck in my room with no way to relieve the pain. My life kind of had stopped in that moment. That's what it felt like, at least. So I went to multiple different doctors every week and kind of just rotated and tried to figure out what was going on and what these injuries were and how to help find some kind of relief and solve these problems. So I was going to the doctor like 3-4 times a week between the orthopedist, the PT, and the chiropractor. And everything that they were kind of going through just felt temporary. I could find some relief for like a day, and then the next day things would be extremely painful. Or I'd go to the PT, be able to do some of the exercises, and then the next few days were just extremely painful. And so it just didn't feel like things were getting better, but I felt like at least I was working towards it, and I had to give it time. So then September rolls around and I'm still having knee pain, and I still am having trouble sitting or standing for long periods of time. And I started noticing that my leg was going numb. I was feeling a lot of tingling going all the way up my leg, and it was spreading. It wasn't just in the knee, it was all the way down and all the way up. And so I went back to the doctor and was like, this is happening, and he sent me to a back specialist, and I ended up doing another round of injections in my back with PT, of course, and the only medication I took was for my back at that point, just to kind of calm down the nerves. Because after an MRI, it was determined that I had a bulging disc in my back, and it had a small tear, which was leaking fluid, which was pressing up against the nerves. And that is why it was sending pain down my knee. Why it was localized in the back of my knee, we don't know. But luckily, the injections and the physical therapy and chiropractic work had helped to heal me tremendously. I had a rough recovery in the weeks following, but it was amazing how quickly the turnaround was and how quickly I felt relief. Once I hit that rough patch, I think that's part of the process, is kind of giving up for a moment, but it's about bringing yourself back up and finding that thing that will bring you back. And so for me, I set my eyes on an Ironman triathlon. I don't know why, but when I saw someone doing an Ironman on YouTube, I was like, wow, that's wild. Like, that seems impossible. I don't think I could ever do one of those. And so because it seemed impossible, I had to try. I knew I had to try. I knew I had to make it possible for me. So I set my eyes on that. I watched tons of videos on YouTube about swimming, biking, and running. And I was like, you know what? I hate running. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. If I'm going to do an Ironman triathlon, I have to learn how to run. I have to enjoy running. So I watched tons of videos on running form, nutrition, hydration, all of it, took notes, everything. And that's how I found the run experience. I watched all the videos. I watched the running channel videos. I watched anything that I could find. So I knew that once I got the clear from my doctors, I was gonna start running. I was gonna hit the ground running because I knew I had everything written down. I had all the information I needed to be a healthy runner. So in November of 2020, I finally had that last round of injections. I finally found relief. And over the next month, I felt great. I continued to follow up with my doctors. She evaluated everything and said everything looks good, range of motion looks good, you're feeling good. And so as of January 1st, 2021, I was allowed to start training. And so I am so excited that I have made it to this point. I have worked all the way from February 2020 to now, August 2021. I have worked so hard to get here, and I am just so excited to share this accomplishment with all of you. And I am ready to run my first marathon. And so be sure to stay tuned, subscribe so that you know when I post my race video, and I hope to see you out there sometime.